Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another show, for another episode of our, tactical breakdown series then, of our Arsenal transfer show, our morning show every single day at 8 a.m. UK time, giving you guys all the latest Arsenal transfer updates, breaking them down so you don't have to, and getting your thoughts and feelings, of course, in the chat box as well. After what was another classic day in Arsenal fandom on social media yesterday, we're going to talk about all that chaos and a lot more and break down some stuff. I've got some lot of exciting stuff to talk about as well that's going to happen today as well. So let's crack straight on with it. Good morning, guys, in the chat box. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're well. Make sure you're liking the video and subscribing if you're new, as always. Now, I want to kick off the show with the information of a show that's going to be live in about an hour. Well, not even an hour, in about 45 minutes. So it's not going to be a very long transfer show today, because we're going to be live doing this at 8:45, because the new EPL fixtures for the 2021-22 season drop at 9 a.m. So I'm going to be doing a live reaction show to that. So make sure you tune in again for that one to find out who Arsenal are going to be playing next season. Of course, we'll find out who our opening fixture is going to be against, the Christmas schedule, the run-in at the end of the season. So I'm going to be doing this live just before 9 o'clock, 8:45, running through, and we'll be answering some questions of yours. So we won't do a long Q&A in this show, because I'm probably going to move the Q&A into the Arsenal fixture reaction. So we'll see how that goes. Make sure you join us for that one. Let's move on to our first part of the show, which, as always, every single day is our Euros one to watch. We like to kick off the show with these while the Euros are going on. Arsenal transfer targets, Arsenal people that you could be looking at as possible targets for Arsenal in the games that we've got going on today. So we got Finland against Russia, Turkey against Wales, and Italy against Switzerland. For Finland, Glenn Kamara has actually been linked to Arsenal this summer and is being tracked by the club. And he, of course, used to play for Arsenal as well. So certainly one you should keep an eye on for the Finland side. Igor Daviv is a young centre-back in the Russian side. You should definitely be keeping an eye on. Interesting to see him develop. He's only early 20s. An interesting one to keep your eyes peeled through. Hakan Calhanoglu, the AC Milan attacking midfielder, has also been linked with a move to Arsenal for Turkey, so you should be keeping your eyes on him. David Brooks for Wales is an interesting young player in the Welsh squad. Might be available this summer because of the whole Bournemouth not getting promoted situation. Very exciting talent. He's now 23. But he's going to be one that a lot of clubs are going to be keeping their eyes peeled to throughout the tournament, should he get more minutes than he currently is. Manuel Locatelli, of course, of Italy, is the next one to keep your eyes on during that fixture, having been linked to Arsenal roughly from Italian sources. Nothing in the UK media yet to credibly verify this one. But he's certainly one that you should be watching should Verratti still be kept out of the team by him. And then finally, Kevin Mbabu of Switzerland has also interestingly linked very loosely in the past. But as a right back, it's a position that Arsenal are looking at. He had a very decent game, I thought, against Wales. He was very proactive on that right-hand side for Switzerland, playing kind of a right wing-back role with the Kanji and Elvedi and Shah playing in the back three. So they're your 6 ones to watch at the Euros today. So make sure you keep your eyes pinned to the screen and looking at these guys. Anyway, let's move on to our first transfer story, which revolves around Granit Xhaka and what Di Marzio has let us know about him, and also Rui Patricio from Wolves. Di Marzio says that Xhaka and Patricio operations are almost at the finish line, and we are almost there. So a fee is to be agreed, it seems, between Roma and Arsenal. Arsenal have been very stubborn about this. They are holding out for that 20 million number, whether that's euros or pounds, we'll still wait to see, but it's probably going to be around 20 million euros that this deal gets done at, should Roma finally come up to Arsenal's asking price. This is great for Arsenal. It's just a good kind of thing to see Arsenal being stubborn about the price. Maybe it's not as much as he's worth. However, making sure that we're not underselling him like we have done in the past, just selling players because we've got bids for them, and actually holding out, is a positive sign, I think, for Arsenal. So that's definitely one that I'm pleased about, that's probably going to go through. If we go on to the next story, which is on Rodrigo de Paul. Now, the Argentinian Udinese midfielder, you can strike this one off your list. This guy is going to be ending up at Atletico Madrid next season. So I'm afraid you won't be seeing this guy in an Arsenal shirt. He is going to be off to Atletico Madrid, likely as a Saul Niguez replacement. Where he ends up is still very much left to the ambiguous But it would have been a great signing, I thought, and obviously it was nice to see Arsenal linked, as it always is with any player of a caliber of DePaul. But it's not going to be, and we move on specifically to more news about Ben White, the Brighton and England centre back. Is of course someone who has been linked heavily to Arsenal over the last week or so, with a 40 to 50 million pound price tag on his head. Now, the news that came out yesterday is that should Arsenal move for this deal with an official bid, Ben White would be very open to moving to Arsenal. He would help with the move in terms of pushing it through. He'll be doing everything he can to try and get the move and the deal done. He sees this as kind of the next and a really good step in his career. So that's fantastic news for us. And I think that Ben White is, if Arsenal can get him in, a very positive signing for the club. I don't buy into the whole, if White comes in, what does that mean for Saliba? I think they could play together. I think it's important to strengthen all areas of the team as much as feasibly possible. So that is certainly going to be a good deal if we can indeed get it done. Let's move on to what I believe to be the penultimate story. Oh, no, there's three left we've got to talk about. Sambi Lokonga. We talked about this guy a lot in yesterday's show. We told you about the news that a deal had been attempted to be agreed by Arsenal around the 50 million plus euro figure. That was rejected by Anderlecht, but Arsenal have continued into talks with the Belgian midfielder, and there's hope that a deal can be struck around the 18 to 20 million euro figure for this guy. 20 million pounds maximum we're looking at for him. That's a really positive move for Arsenal. We talked about this a lot yesterday, so if you want to know my thoughts, we've also done a dedicated tactical breakdown on him as well. So there's lots of information on the channel about Lokonga, but this is one that should be able to develop, fingers crossed, over the next day, week or so, and maybe Arsenal can get their first deal done before the end of the European Championships. Let's move on to the penultimate story and ask what this says about Sander Berge. Should Arsenal go and get Sambi Lokonga? What does it mean for their interest in Sander Berge? Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's completely over. However, it does put a huge dent on this one. For me, Sambi Lokonga, whilst he's a defensive midfielder, the way that he plays is very much looked at as a number 8 rather than your number 6. And that is the position that obviously Sander Berge plays at Sheffield United, playing in that number 8 role. So you would imagine if Arsenal were to go in for Sambi Lokonga, it probably would mean ruling out a deal in the future for Sander Berge and more likely lead to a possible Basuma situation, who's a much more disciplined positional player than Sander Berge. So it probably does rule out. That's what the press in Sheffield are certainly saying right now, that Arsenal's interest in Lokonga will probably spell an end to their pursuit of the Norwegian international. Let's move on then to our final story of the day, which revolves around this man. James Maddison was linked to Arsenal yesterday by the enigmatic AFC Bell, which of course is the account which called Thomas Partey completely spot on in the 2020 window. It looks like before anyone else, this is going to be the profile or the case study or the case is what they call it, isn't it? of this summer, which is an interesting one. Obviously I love James Maddison. I think he's a fantastic player and he's got a lot of potential, and he really should arguably, had he been fit for the most of the season, been going to the Euros this summer. What I would say is obviously always take these things with a huge pinch of salt. The Bell is very good for knowing the Partey situation, but beyond that, we have yet to kind of see more kind of legitimate links being made and more legitimate stories. Interestingly, it was funny, I talked about ITKs on the show yesterday or the day before, and I said that you should always look out for tweets. When a tweet comes out and it says Arsenal are interested, or Arsenal are considering a bid, or Arsenal are stepping up their interest. These types of words, which was ironically all the words that were used in the tweet, because it's safe. It doesn't say an amount. It doesn't say Arsenal have made a bid. It doesn't say any of that. Now, Chris Wheatley, of course, did tweet out afterwards reacting to that news, saying that he's heard from his sources that Arteta is interested in Maddison. I mean, who isn't? It's not big news. Of course, Arteta would be interested in Maddison. Of course, he would be a target on Arsenal's list should they be able to get him, just like plenty of unrealistic targets are. I texted a contact of mine who works at The Athletic from a Leicester perspective. He said to me, as I tweeted out yesterday, that to get Maddison, you're looking at between 50 to 60 plus million pounds. Fingers crossed I'm actually going to be able to get him on the show to verify you that information as well, because as I've said, I don't like being the ITK, and when we do, we like to get the sources on so they can tell you themselves. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to be able to do one of these, which I know a lot of people have been asking for, and fingers crossed, the source that I'm talking about, my contact, is going to be coming on to give his side of things as well. But basically, the line is, it's about if Yuri Tielemans goes, which is usually the one that I look at, to be honest, as the most likely to leave Leicester this summer, then Leicester don't tend to let more than one huge kind of player leave from their group, so they can replace and they can get players in. But yeah, this is just not, for me, a realistic target for Arsenal. I didn't think that Thomas Partey was, but the difference between that and this is that Thomas Partey had a release clause that was activated on the final day of the season. So the thing with James Maddison is that isn't the case, and that they would need to agree a fee for this guy. So it's basically near impossible for Arsenal to get a deal done for anything less than, I would imagine, 70 million. And then you start getting into kind of Grealish figures of money. And if you're going to spend 70 million plus on Grealish, I'd rather Arsenal went in and just went the whole hog and got Grealish in rather than Maddison, to be honest. So I really cannot see this one happening whatsoever. Obviously, there we go, that's what I want. So we will be doing this show in about half an hour's time. So there's going to be no Q&A today on the show because I'm going to answer loads of your questions on this show in about half an hour's time, guys. Obviously, I would usually do a Q&A, but because this show is coming out so quickly afterwards, I'm starting at 15 minutes before 9 o'clock when the fixtures are revealed. So we'll be able to go through plenty of your questions then about transfers. And I'm going to stick around after the fixtures have been announced as well, so that we can answer more of your questions then too. So make sure you tune in for that. That's at 7:45. So in half an hour's time, we'll be doing a live reaction to Arsenal's Premier League fixtures being announced. I hope you've enjoyed today's interesting breakdown. Hopefully, there could be as many as 4 shows for you today. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled to the channel. There could be a really good interview coming up there this afternoon that you guys should tune in for. And of course, I'm going to try and get a James Maddison tactical breakdown out for you at some point today, as well as the show that you can see on your screen right now. So make sure you drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And of course, turn those notifications on so you never miss a show. And if you would like to help support the channel, you can by joining up as a member. It's been a pleasure to speak to you guys as always. I will see you in about half an hour's time, people, for the Arsenal fixtures for next season. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I'll see you again very, very soon. And as always, up the Arsenal.